Hello everyone, we're going to be continuing on with book number 1 from the Phoenix Journals, and it's called the Sipapu Oddessy, and you can find them at phoenixarchives.com. This segment is called Small Revelations. It was a joyous time. After the initial shock of finding Steve and Diana, Bob ceased the incessant questioning of how it could be this way and accepted that it was. When he realized Athenia and Richard were also in the group, he was totally happy. Fawn never said that she had once been an Orangia, and Bob didn't pry. Everything seemed wonderful to him. Yorgos said the teaching sessions would be speeded up, and that many would be joining them for many of the teachings. He said that many Earth beings joined the groups during what Earthlings called sleep. These would be the beings who would be working on the Earth plane. Yorgos had received a message from Athenia that she and Richard had concluded their work in Peru sooner than anticipated, and had requested that they be gathered and returned to the canyon so that they might also attend the lessons. Diana, Steve, and Bob were all included in the flight to Peru. Yorgos made sure Bob had a chance to briefly see most of the things Diana and Steve had already experienced, simply for the fun of the experience. Then, after picking up Richard and Athenia, they were given another very special tour. They were taken over many sites that were considered sacred, as well as being shown places historically connected with space sightings in the U.S. The locations ranged all over the U.S. The Devil's Rock in Wyoming, Monument Valley, and several other places in Arizona, several places in Texas, and an Indian area in Oklahoma, 2 special places in the Smoky Mountains and Appalachian chain, and on it seemed to Bob. There apparently were hundreds of places with special bases or ports. Many ceremonial places were great meetings where they were continually taking place. It was a fantastic experience. Then Yorgos took time to do something very special for the Earthlings. He took them to places where there were things of personal interest. He informed them in advance that many things would be explained at a later time in an overall view of priority projects, but they were to be shown where they personally fit into the tapestry. He laughed and said that many times, while the plans were being made on a conscious level relating to the overall plan, messages were sent through channels not understood by the Earthlings. He reminded Diana of receiving warnings and advice from as far away as Chicago and New Jersey, through people she did not know. Now, they would be given an opportunity to make some of those connections so they might better understand what was planned on the higher levels. First, they covered the area of Mount Shasta and looked in detail at an area on the Pitt River called Big Bend Hot Springs. This was an area Bob, Steve, and Diana planned to install geothermal power units, as well as research a food supplement algae. Yorgos said it was the proper project, but the turbines should be set on the highest ridges near the river bend because there would be failure of hydroelectric installations farther up the river, causing the entire riverbed area to be devastated by waters from the dams. He continued by saying it would be all right to use the area for a brief time for some greenhouse research, but not plan to place the major greenhouse project on that property. He suggested that there would be sufficient room in the Tehachapi area, as was now planned, to facilitate those greenhouses. He said there would be other food products that would be given later to be used in times of emergency. He also said that synchronous generators must be used in the turbines to facilitate direct usage of electricity. Next, they went to the Tehachapi area and looked over the mountain areas and all the electric production wind farms. He said the turbines Steve planned to construct would far surpass the capabilities of any currently being utilized. These would be the Westinghouse 600 kilowatt model. He said that because of the synchronous generators, the power could be instantly utilized without necessity of the utility distribution should that system fail. He said that wind power could help fill in temporarily should the other systems be closed down for emergency reasons. He also said they would be given information regarding a device invented by Nikola Tesla, which would attach to the base of the turbine tower and would produce mammoth amounts of energy utilizing vibrations from the tower itself. It would be a very simple device using highly tuned wires and quicksilver or mercury. He continued that as man would grow spiritually to a level where he no longer threatened his own universe, the method of universal power production would be given to the group. It too would be a simple device originally discovered by Nikola Tesla. It would function on rays from the sun and copper sheets, in addition to highly tuned wires. It would not, however, require direct sunlight, so could function at times when the atmosphere was clouded for any reason. He added that the electricity distribution system would not require wires, but would rather be beamed from tall towers and then distributed to individual receiving devices. He concluded by saying there would be many instructions given to this group, as there was much to be done if man would survive his own destructive nature. He said that the underground nuclear explosions detonated in February of 1987 had been the straw that broke the camel's back. The reaction had set into motion vibrations of such magnitude, added to those already being experienced at that time, that the result could not be reversed by outside forces. There would be a massive earthquakes triggered at those vibration waves spread out and impacted the earth fault lines. He said what would result would be some massive earthquakes which would effectively cut off the coastal areas. Power lines would fall, water supply conduits would be broken, and fuel lines would be severed. These would be the very most minimal damages. Further, the road systems would be unusable and the massive irrigation system of the agriculture areas would be devastated, thus causing food shortages of tremendous proportions. Ancient Revelations. It was evening when the groups began to gather up the canyon for holograms and speakers. As Steve and the Earth group joined the audience, they noted many people whom they had not seen before. The gathering was situated in a widened area, and those in attendance sat clustered facing a sheer cliff wall with an outcropping rock at its base. As the natural light faded, it was replaced by a spotlight from the spacecraft which lit the stage area. It was wonderful as the sky was visible above the stream of light. They could watch the stars take their places in the universe while waiting for the session to begin. Spotted Eagle climbed to a point near the middle of the rock outcropping and raised his hands to the heavens. There was the scent of smoke wafting on the air, and Spotted Eagle carried some feathered items, in addition to a beautifully decorated long-stemmed pipe. The audience fell into immediate silence as he took his place and prepared to speak. Spotted Eagle spoke of the Ancient Ones and of the relationships of every creation on earth, of the relationship of humans to all of those creations. He spoke of the beauty and harmony of earth as our mother, and he spoke of the cliff as he spoke, the cliff became a huge screen upon which was projected a collage of action pictures. He continued to narrate as scene after scene was illuminated before the group. The projections showed the devastation perpetrated by man on the two beautiful continents known as the Americas. Among those things shown, there were consequences of acid rain, with dozens of examples, rivers, large and small lakes, and oceans being polluted and destroyed. There were pictures of forests being poisoned by pollution, devastated by man for industry and clearing for agriculture. The consequential terrible flooding from the stripped watersheds was shown. He showed pictures of dozens of electrical power plants, oil refineries, chemical and industrial plants belching forth pollution. He showed the destruction resulting from mining activities. There was also demonstrations of earth collapse into some of the underground mine shafts as the earth shifted. The examples seemed endless. Spotted Eagle even showed examples of man's desecration of Earth's most sacred areas. The human faces carved into the face of magnificent Black Hills, one of the Indians' most sacred spiritual places. Diana was openly sobbing, and Bob could not stop the flow of tears from his eyes. Somehow he knew the subject matter would not get easier as the evening progressed. He would be correct in that assumption. Future revelations. John, too, was accompanied by projected visual holograms, which made an individual have the feeling of actual participation within the scene itself. As he spoke, appropriate visualizations moved with his verbal illusions. He said he would simply be giving a description of things as directly handed down to him, without personal comment. He then launched into his teachings. And it is said, there shall be winds, and there shall be, in the time when it is winter, and the trees shall blow down their boughs, and the winds shall sting with the cold. And there shall be great suffering among the people, and they shall fall down and cry for mercy. And there shall be a mighty earthquake, and it shall split in twain the country of North America. And it shall be as nothing the world has known before, for it shall be that there shall be a great part of the great land of the north continent to go down, and a great sea shall form within her center part, from the dominion of Canada into the Gulf of Mexico. And there shall be great ocean liners which shall travel within its waters, which will be propelled by solar energy of the next age. But with this, they shall be unable to travel east to west, or from west to east, through what is now the Atlantic Ocean. For it shall have a mountain range which has been thrown up from the bottom of the Atlantic, and it shall be extended into the air to the altitude of 10,000 feet. And it shall be the city of old, for it was the light of the world. She went down amid a great shock and a great wave, and it shall be that she shall come up the same way as she went down. And the west side shall be as the sheer side of granite, and it shall be without foothold. And the way shall be as the eagle flies from the place which is Upper Virginia, 300 miles due east. And at this point it shall be 1,800 feet from the waters. And not an entrance through the land shall there be to the east, for it is not for them which are to be the remnants to communicate by water. For it shall be with a new science, and a new method shall be given unto them. For there is not a place which is that shall remain the same in its present state. And not a person shall be left which is not prepared for that which shall be. And there are not many called, but few are chosen. And there are many called, but few are chosen. For there are none which have been chosen, which have not been carefully prepared. And they have been unto themselves true, and they have been given credit where credit is due. And now it is given unto them to be the seed of the new civilization which shall come upon the earth. And within the time which is left before this shall come upon the earth, it shall be that many will be called, and they shall doubt, and they shall fear, and they shall faint, and they shall fall by the way. And they shall be in no wise, for it is given unto man to fear that which he does not understand, and for that does he wait. And it is said, there shall be winds, and there shall be the winds, and they shall be as none the earth has known. And they shall be as the winds from the sea, and from the land all rolled into one great tempest. And they shall be as the winds of the north and the south, and the east and the west, and they shall tear that which is in their path. And they shall be as the reaper who mows down that which is in his path. And they shall sing with the bitterness of the cold. And they shall be as the elements of the earth, for they shall contain both rain and wind. And the hail shall be as big as bird eggs, and it shall split that which it hits. And it shall be that the suffering shall be great upon the earth, for it is given unto man to know suffering. And he has not known much suffering before, and when it is come upon him, he shall fall down and cry for mercy. And it shall be that the winds too shall be great upon the earth. They shall blow east, west, north, and south. And not a place shall there be upon the earth which shall escape the winds which bloweth. And when this tribulation has come upon the earth, it shall be that there shall be many who have kept within the law. And with the coming of the winds, and belching of fire from within the earth, there shall be more. John continued by telling of how things would be. He said that no one would be responsible for the words of another, nor would any man take upon himself that which would be done by another. Each entity would be responsible for his own. He said man had lost his identity with the Father God, which had sent him, and that if he would not awaken and return to the Father, he would surely perish. John spoke on for a very long time, giving illustration after illustration. He concluded by saying it was time to talk more about the present, and that'll be the end of this segment. Thank you.